Alright guys, I'm Steex Audio Video Production. Today I'm gonna show you the new pedal from Walrus Audio, and this is the 𝙎𝙤𝙢𝙢𝙚. This video is sponsored by Walrus Audio, so I have to send a huge thanks to Walrus Audio. However, all the opinions and the way I show you this video are mine. So today I'm gonna talk about the new 𝙎𝙤𝙢𝙢. This pedal is amazing and is really strange and will be really a useful tool for all the creative people. Let's talk about all the features of this pedal. So let me introduce you all the switches and this joystick, and then of course I'll show you some samples. I really love the artwork of this pedal. As you can see, is basically with strip with line, horizontal line from the bottom, and then this horizontal line will disappear. Is really great also to touch the artwork. Really like. The most important thing of this pedal, of course, is this joystick. Basically with this joystick you create your tone, and this is really important, guys. The 𝙎𝙢𝙢 pedal combine together two different sounds, the distortion sound and the reverb sounds, and with this joystick basically you can manage the amount of the distortion if you go up and down, and the amount of the reverb if you go left and right. So basically you can create the tone that you want into this. This is really great. And let me say that the joystick is really precise. So as soon as you touch a bit the joystick, the tone will completely change. So for this reason, I think that using this pedal with your feet is really difficult. So you have to practice a bit. As you can see, it's really thin and the tip is in plastic. So not a good idea to use with your feet. Maybe it's better to use with your hand, place as you want and then play. But the reason of this joystick maybe is also that you can use this pedal not only with the guitar, also with your keyboard. So place the pedal near your keyboard, you can touch and basically you can change the tone. This is really great. Talking about the other switches, you have of course the tone, three-way switches, and of course will change the tone of your drive, so darker and brighter, and this will be really useful because will change basically the behavior of the response of the pedal if you place the pedal in front of your amplifier or in the FX loop, and I'll show you in a moment this behavior. Then you have the decay. Basically you can listen the tail of your reverb and you can change the tail of the reverb with this switch, and then you can change the position of the drive and the reverb, so the drive that goes into the reverb or the reverb that goes into the drive. This will be really creative, guys. You have two different main switches, the bypass switch and the sustain switch. The sustain switch can behave in two different ways, but I'll show you in a moment with the samples because it's different to talk you without making you listen. And then you can also change the reverb because you can use three different reverbs. Switching together the two main switches, you can cycle between these three different reverbs, the so-called hollow reverb, let me say, dark reverb with an octave, and also a reverse reverb. So let's start listening how it sounds. So I let you listen in two ways. On the first way, I place the pedal on the FX loop. So right now it's plugged on the FX loop of my Dreadful Purple Nightmare. And on the second way, later on this video, I'll show you in front of the amplifier because the behavior will be completely different. Starting from the distortion will be completely different, the behavior, but also the reverb. I prefer to use reverb on the FX loop of an amplifier because it behaves differently, so it's parallel the signal, so I prefer. But the distortion maybe is better before, but this will sound just a bit fuzzy if you place the pedal in front of the amplifier. So right now I'll play with the pedal on the FX loop. Talking about the routing, I'm using my Gibson Les Paul Standard with Alnico 5 pickups going directly to my Dreadful Purple Nightmare amplifier in clean channel, and I'm using my custom-made cabinet, but not mic'd up. As you can see, there is no microphone because I'm using impulse response. If you want, you can also get for free impulse response of this cabinet, two impulse response that I'm using right now with my Torpedo Captor X. So if you are a member of my YouTube channel, you can get it impulse response for free. These impulse response are from WGS speaker and with Boutique microphones. So this is the sound without the pedal. Okay, really pristine, clean sound. Now, let's engage the pedal. If I place the joystick in this way, so I have zero distortion and zero mix, basically I'm bypassing the pedal. I'm raising the volume, it's basically the same. It's lower. Okay, now if I go up with my switch, I'm increasing the distortion. Okay, this distortion is after the preamp, so maybe it's not pleasant to you, but I like this distortion. It's really like a plexi distortion, but push plexi. And now, if I go instead to my right, I'm engaging the reverb. And of course, I have to raise the volume. And I can blend together distortion and reverb. So be careful with the volume. In this way, as you can see, basically the distortion is disappearing in the reverb because I'm using 7% of the mix of my reverb, and as you can see, the switch is drive into reverb. I can basically switch reverb into drive, and the behavior is completely different because I have before the reverb that going into the distortion, and this is really, really strange. Really, really strange. Now let's listen only the distortion so I can show you the tone switch. Now I'm on the right, and this is the really bright tone that you can get. If I go to the middle, it's really dark. If I go to the left, it's balanced. So the first position is balanced. In the middle it's dark, and on the right there is a bass, so it's brighter. Okay, then you have the decay, so I'm going to the reverb only. Okay, and in the middle position, as you can see, the decay is okay, so it's not too much, but it's really, really long. Let's go now to the right, and the decay is basically infinite. Okay, if I go now to the left, it's really short, the decay, and you can create basically a really short room. And with also some drive, now let me show you the different reverb that you can get with this pedal. Basically, if you press together the bypass and the sustain together, you will get different reverb. As you can see now, I'm with the purple light, and this is the, I don't know, normal reverb. Just like that. Okay, really, really cool. Now let's press together, and now the LED is yellow, and this is the sound of my reverb. It's really dark. Really dark. Now together again, I'm in the blue LED, and now the reverb will be a reverse reverb. Okay. Really strange, but will be really creative for you. So again, let me switch on the first reverb. Oh, by the way, you can also change the decay of the reverb in also the other kind of reverb, okay? So you can manage everything you want. I forgot to mention the sustain. The sustain can work in different ways. The first way is pushing and holding the sustain. Basically, you create a sustain of what you're playing, everything what you're playing. So basically, if I play, for example, a chord, this will be infinite. If I play, also this one basically is sustained. Okay? As soon as you release, there is no more the sustain. But the second way is pushing the sustain one time, and basically the pedal will sustain only what you played before you pushed the sustain. It's sustaining me the A chord. I can play over, but there is no more the pedal, so the pedal will be bypassed from the reverb. Okay, really, really cool. Now let's put the pedal in front of the amplifier and let's listen the completely different behavior and tone. Okay, so this is the sound of my amplifier. Let's engage the pedal, and this is only the distortion. So it's really bright and the sound is basically fuzzy. If I change the tone, this is the normal. And this is the dark position. That I prefer much more when you use the pedal in front of the amplifier. Let's engage also the reverb. Basically, with the second reverb, it's darker, but there is also an octave lower. Oh my god, it's a really mess with this switch. Alright guys, this is the melee pedal by Walrus Audio. It's a really strange pedal, but really creative pedal. So I think you can really create a lot of things with this pedal because it's really compact, only distortion and reverb, but a lot of switches. It's a really creative tool in my opinion. I really like the reverb. I really love the first reverb and the ability to change also the reverb from the octave, lower octave reverb, so it's darker reverb, and also the reverse reverb. The reverse reverb is really useful if you are really creative. You can also use this on not only with the guitar but also with maybe with the keys, with synthesizers, so it's really cool. And I really like the ability to change your sound basically in 2Ds with the joystick. But pay attention, I think it's really difficult to manage the joystick with your feet. So with your hand it's okay, but with your feet it's really difficult. Be careful because it's really tiny, and as soon as you move it's really precise. So as soon as you move a bit, the pedal behaves in completely different ways. And as you can see, the pedal, so the distortion behaves differently if you place the pedal in front of the amplifier or in FX loop. Personally, I prefer the distortion in the FX loop because it's less fuzzy, I think, but it behaves completely different and it's also darker a bit. I think it's too much bright in front of my Purple Nightmare. And the reverb, of course, I like to use reverb in the FX loop. Guys, you have the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.